Hello and welcome to Nintendo Pals Podcast, episode 87. Tonight, we're talking about a bunch of games that came out this week. We're talking about Nintendo Switch Sports. We're talking favorite Switch era music and, all that and more. Well, greetings, fellow Nintendo Pals. I am Andros, one of the hosts of the Nintendo Pals Podcast, and I am joined by my co-host and all-around awesome dude, Micah.
Yup.
And Micah, how the heck are you?
Well, I'm doing pretty good.
Nice. I'm also doing pretty good. It's been a week for me. Holy cow. Lots of games came out. But before we jump into anything, we have a giveaway.
And what are we giving away?
We are giving away a physical copy. Actually, I have it right here. A physical copy of Nintendo Switch Sports. That's right, which launched today as the day of recording this. And we did a tweet that go out and follow us on Twitter, retweet, and tag a friend. And that was how you entered to win. And we are here to announce the winner of that giveaway. But before we do, for everybody listening, that's hovering over that unfollow button.
It's like that classic, but first a commercial break.
Just wanted to give a heads up that we actually are hitting our 2-year anniversary this next month, and we are planning another massive giveaway. This will be a big one. So stay tuned for next month, probably mid to end of the month. You'll see another opportunity to win some Nintendo goodness. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to tease anymore. It's big. It's big. It's going to be great. But the winner of this copy of Nintendo Switch Sports is Devi Phantom. Devi Phantom over on Twitter. So I've reached out to the winner on Twitter. So we'll hopefully be shipping that out to them shortly. Thank you so much to everybody who entered in and for all the new follows and likes and retweets. Really appreciate it. It helps us out a ton, and we love to be able to give back to the community in whatever way we can. So we want to do more of that. And this is made possible through the amazing people who have followed us and subscribed to us on Twitch. So thank you to everybody who has pitched in that regard. It's awesome. It's great that we can do stuff like this now.
Yeah, I thought I was supposed to win. I thought that's what we had decided.
Yeah. Why don't we hop into the first segment of our show and let's talk what you playing. Micah, I actually need to backtrack. I forgot the opening.
Oh yeah, I know you forgot.
Micah, do you know what we are doing tonight?
Sleeping?
The same thing that we do every Friday evening. We try to take over the world. That is right, and that is done through 5-star reviews. We really appreciate everybody who's left us 5-star reviews, and we got a bunch of new ones this week. We actually got 3 new 5-star reviews. 2 anonymous, one anonymous review on Spotify. Thank you. If we could see who you were, shout you out, we would. But appreciate that. And an anonymous one on Apple Podcast, along with a new written review on Apple Podcast. Micah, you want to read that one off for us?
Which one?
the Apple Podcast review.
Right on. Yeah, by
The only one.
Erickson. Yeah. Well, the other one is technically a review, but it's somewhere else in our notes for reasons.
Yes.
But Camden Erickson, best Nintendo podcast! Exclamation mark. It's the title. I love this podcast. Always listen while playing my favorite Nintendo games. 5 stars. Would recommend.
Wow. Thank you so much, Camden. Really appreciate that review.
Saying you would recommend the best recommendation.
Yeah, and 5 stars in the description. And while playing your favorite Nintendo games, curious what games you're playing while listening to Nintendo Pals podcast. And if listening to this somehow helps, cool. Thank you. You're welcome. I don't know.
And even cooler is if somehow we get you killed in that game.
No,
that's
please.
My new goal.
No.
Every once in a while, if I'm like in the podcast, I'm just going to yell something real loud to surprise you and hope it's at the perfect
Push
time.
the B button. Push the B button. What are you doing? Push it. Thank you so much for the 5-star review, Camden Erickson. If you want to be awesome like Camden Erickson, you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, Spotify, and Audible. Or if there's another spot that you can leave a 5-star review, do it. All right? Because listen, I've talked about this before, but 45% of our listening audience listens on Apple Podcasts. And 45% of you definitely have not left 5-star reviews. A good chunk of that percentage has. I don't know how much exactly, but we're at 40.
That would require math.
We're at 46 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts. We're so close to 50. Help us break the boundary, get to the 50, then on our way to 100. I mean, only with your help can we hit these kinds of amazing numbers and really take over the world of Nintendo podcasts and of gaming podcasts. You know, first Nintendo, then the world, gaming. Thanks again for everybody who's left us 5-star reviews. And while you're at it, jump on over and follow us on YouTube. It's not follow. Subscribe to us on YouTube.
Yeah, they got different names for different platforms.
Yeah, they're the same thing. Okay, so a follow on Twitch is like the same thing as a subscription on YouTube, which means sometimes those platforms will tell you when we put something up. Only sometimes, though. Thank you, Twitch and YouTube.
They don't want to overwhelm our listeners, you know.
So annoying. Like, what's the point of subscribing to something? Well, the point is, by doing that, we actually get channel rewards that let us have more functionality and features as creators. So by doing that, you help us out a lot. And by having a bigger following, by having more subscribers, we get recommended to more people's feeds. So even if you're not planning on watching on those platforms, definitely throw a follow or a sub our way. And especially if you're planning on watching, throw a follow or a sub our way. We appreciate it. It helps us grow, helps people find the show. And yeah, that's it. 5-star reviews. We're on a streak here of multiple 5-star reviews per week. Let's keep the streak alive. Let's go. Micah, guess what I've been playing this week?
Maybe just a little bit of Switch Sports.
Oh yes, that's what I was playing all day after work today.
Which is like an hour.
Yeah, I didn't have too much time to jump into it yet. But I played for an hour with my son, and then also did an 1.5 hour long stream with our friends over at the All N podcast. So definitely check out their channel and stuff. And it's good game. It's great game. I'm enjoying it so far.
It's good game.
It's good game. I do like it a lot. It feels like Wii Sports. Everything feels good to play. I want to give kind of like an objective overview here. There are some things about it that I think are interesting design choices from like the onset. So the main progression system appears to be tied strictly to online play, and that is online play with randos, not your friend play. So there are 3 options on the main menu. You've got play online, and then you have play local. Play online is huge. That's the big one. That's like what it defaults to. Play local and play with friends. Those are the different options that you have to play with, and all of the unlockable costumes and leveling up happens in the play online. So that means that a lot of the progression that comes with the game is only available to people that have Nintendo Switch Online, which
Yeah.
is an interesting choice for a game that is very family focused, because like in our case, my son wanted to play those, but couldn't through his account. He had to use my wife's account because, I mean, he's 5. I didn't really feel like he needed to have his own Nintendo Switch Online account, but sort of seeming like he will if he wants to have his own account and own progression separate from someone else in the family. So that's a bit of a bummer for the little ones, and for people that aren't tied into NSO. And I didn't dive.
It seems kind of weird because it's such a good game for local co-op. Or at least seems like it would be.
Well, I just don't see why you can't level up with local co-op or like local play against CPUs, because you could in the old games, right? It seems like it's very online focused. Like they definitely want people playing online, and I think that is good. I think the online works pretty well. From what I've seen so far, it's worked pretty well. But the progression system being not just whatever mode you wanted it to be want it to be on is a little weird. And I wonder if maybe there's going to be like a battle pass type thing tied to it, and maybe that's why. I don't know.
I feel
not like a paid battle pass, like a
oh yeah,
kind of like the Mario Golf.
I feel like some sort of paid battle pass thing would be kind of weird on Switch Sports.
Please don't do that, Nintendo. So in that regard, the game is very online focused, right? Like it has the ability to play single player or co-op player online, against randos, and I think it matches based off of skill and rank. Haven't played enough to know that yet. But Micah, I've seen a lot of reviews for this game that came out today-ish, that really ragged on the game. But here's the kicker, is they couldn't review the online portion yet.
Yeah.
Or at least it wasn't in like full going with I think it was only I don't think it was even turned on. If it was, then they were only playing with other reviewers, right?
There's
a very limited pool.
Too many of them.
And with the game being so heavily focused on that, it seems weird to have pushed your review prior to that coming out. I understand these review websites want to be
feel
competitive.
they like kind of have to, so people can see your review before they buy the game. But it also needs to come with the knowledge that it was not rating any of the online functionality.
Yeah.
Which is apparently a pretty big part.
I also noticed and think that a lot are I feel like it's getting very harshly graded, and I don't quite get it, because every review I've seen so far has said that they like the game and it's good, but that there's not enough to it. And maybe that's because the online wasn't quite full swing yet. I don't know. I've got our pal topic, Micah. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it at the end. But I think that the perception of Wii Sports is a little bit warped because the original one came out for free. And I think that people had free thing, and now how many years later? It was like 2006. Like 15 years later, now charging for a very similar package, right? This has online, and gaming's progressed since then, so there's upgrades and stuff. But very similar package. Nintendo's charging $40 digital, 50 physical. And because we got it for free, people are like, well, this isn't worth it. But maybe this should be the other way around. Like that one should have been $50 with the onset. But then again, if that hadn't been given out for free, would this even have grounds to be released to be popular? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, because the original probably would have sold like 17 copies or something.
yeah, who knows? But then in the middle, you had Nintendo. You had Wii Sports Resort, and that sold like 70 mil. It sold a lot. It sold a lot of copies.
More than a couple.
Yeah, it was in the top 10 for the sellers, and that one also was charged for. So I really don't know how. I do feel like there's maybe a warped perception on the value of this franchise. I am clearly biased as someone who's a big fan of Wii Sports, but I do feel like maybe it's getting a little bit dunked on unnecessarily. Personally, so far, it's like an 8 or 9 out of 10. But I'd even say it will become an 11 out of 10 for me as I play more of the sports. I'm really enjoying it. I really am having a good time with it. It's a great family game. It's the motion controls. So let's talk about gameplay now. The motion controls work very well. It feels very responsive, and games that I saw people going like, I didn't think this was that fun, I'm having a blast with. Volleyball's really good. Soccer was also pretty fun. And people were ragging on that one as part of like the test runs and stuff. So
on soccer,
yeah, it's a little slow. It's a little slow. I can see why people don't like it.
It seems like soccer would be one that become more fun the better you got at it.
Mm-hmm.
From the little bit I've seen, the ball essentially seemed to just be getting kicked in random directions practically most of the time.
What was that from me playing? Yeah, it was bad.
It could be, but I feel like that's one, like, if you were good or better, maybe is a nice way of putting it, and you had better teamwork, you could set up some like sweet passes and things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we didn't do
I
any
feel like
passing.
I feel like that one would be more fun the better you got. It has a little bit of a learning curve, seems like.
Yep. Not quite as pick up and play as bowling.
Yeah. And you also would have to have good teammates.
Yeah. So
that you have a good
I really liked all the volleyball motion, and I felt like I was getting better at it the more times I played volleyball. Bowling is bowling. Like, it feels so good to do bowling. Clubhouse 51 Games has a bowling game. Doesn't feel as good. This feels just like it did on the Wii. Like, it's responsive. It's super fun. And the new obstacle bowling mode, really cool. Really cool. Had a blast with that one. And it's randomized, we found out. So that's pretty sweet. But in 4-player online play, we couldn't play tennis.
That does seem kind of weird.
It was like you can only play this with 2 consoles, which I think that means that like 2 consoles could play with 2 people on each console, because that is an option.
Yeah, probably.
But what? Why? When we could play volleyball, but we can't play tennis? Maybe it's just too laggy. They're like, we give up. We're not gonna even try to make this one work. But then in randos, you can play tennis, and you play 4-player tennis. So what? That's a weird decision. Yeah. So besides the decision to make all the progression and the unlockables online, the sports themselves, which the core of the game is very good, well designed, super fun so far. I'm excited to see golf get added, and I am hopeful that they add more sports as time goes on. And for all the negative to subpar to okay-ish reviews I've seen for it, this game had like 100,000 people watching on Twitch. We're watching people play Nintendo Switch Sports, so it's at least popular for today. Yeah. How long will it last? That's a question I did get from someone in chat. Like, like, do you see this lasting a while? It's too soon to tell. I haven't played enough games to really dive in. So far, I'd say yes for me, anyways.
Yeah. Well, you
But
need to just you just got to get some like ankle and wrist weights, and then it can just be your new workout game.
yeah, or I mean, I was sweating just playing as is because I'm out of shape. Yeah, that's so that's Nintendo Switch Sports. But that's not all I played this week, Micah. Do you have any more
Oh
questions
wow,
for
that
me
was.
on Nintendo Switch Sports?
No, I think that about sums it up.
I didn't try the leg strap game yet. I'll have more
I
thoughts.
almost asked about that, but I didn't see you had tried it out yet.
I'll have more thoughts on Nintendo Switch Sports next week as I have more time to play and bust through some of the different modes. Battle Royale bowling, awesome. So great. Yes, that is not all I played though. I played 2 other games, new games that launched this week. One was a story about a man named Stanley. I played the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, and that launched on Wednesday this last week. I loved it. It's really fun. It's very funny. It's kind of suspenseful at parts. There's some dark moments to it, but it's very funny. I've never felt both that like the comedy while also like suspense comedy. That's probably the best way to describe how I felt playing it. You've played the game before. I've never played Stanley Parable before, and
Yeah, I
it's
got
like,
as part of some like Humble Bundle on Steam, like what feels like 10 years ago. So I remember essentially nothing. I just remember it being really funny.
yeah, it's pretty. It's a narrative adventure. There's not a lot of like mechanics to it. For you, there's not a lot you're doing besides going to different locations and potentially hitting single buttons. But the narrative is so well written. Your character is essentially a video game character stuck in a loop in the video game, and you're going through making different stories. And you can choose to go with what the narrator says to do or not. And the narrator will try and steer you back on track to the story that the narrator wants to tell. And other times we'll just kind of go with it, and like things will get really, it just gets so insane and weird. There's like a point where he is like, has you call your wife, and you go back to your apartment, and turns out your wife was fake. It's not a real wife. It's just a mannequin, and the narrator trapped you there. And it's so funny. Like it's just so bizarre. I don't want to get into too many spoilers, but major spoiler right here, Micah. Okay, I'm not going to get into too much here, but this is a tease, major spoiler. So if you don't want any spoilers for the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, skip past this point. This game, this game is actually may be a hidden sequel.
Oh wow.
It has, from what I'm seeing online, nearly double the content of the original game. It has the original game in here, but then slowly things start to change, and then very bigly things start to change, and you're playing Stanley Parable 2. is what I'm saying. And but it's all within the meta of the game, and like the goofy plot of it. Like, it is a video game, and the narrator's very self-aware, breaking the fourth wall. And yeah, my favorite character in the game is the Bucket. Fantastic character.
I think that might be a new one.
That is a new character. Yes, there's a whole plot line about that being a new character. It's very funny. There's also the giant cardboard cutout of a baby. That's a pretty great character. Did you ever find that one? No?
It does sound familiar, but I also remember essentially nothing.
The classic character from the original game, the Broom Closet. Very, very good character. Stanley Parable's great. Y'all just need to play it. I don't want to talk about it any more than I've already talked about it, because it's just an experience.
Yeah, you got to experience it. It's better firsthand.
Yeah, if you don't want to pitch in on Ultra Deluxe, which is $25 on the eShop, US dollars, it's, I'm sure you can get the original really cheap, but I'd say the Ultra Deluxe is worth the cost. I have essentially beat it. I don't have very many alternate endings left to find, and yeah, it's fun, good game. Last one I'm going to talk about. I know I have a lot to talk about this week in What You're Playing, just because I played so many new games. There were so many games I was looking forward to coming out. But this one, everybody's talking about Bug Snacks. That's the theme song. Everybody's talking about Bug Snacks. Bug Snacks launched on Switch this weekend. Also DLC for the games for the game on PlayStation and on all platforms. The Isle of Big Snacks. I have not hit the Isle of Big Snacks yet. I think about halfway through Bug Snacks, and I'm not doing like the 100% completionist side of it, but
wow, so you're not truly experiencing all
there's
that
a
Bug
lot
Snacks has to offer.
There's a lot of Bug Snacks to catch, like there's a lot. Surprisingly deals with some serious themes, things like depression, anxiety, self-worth, and like there's lots of drama in the town of characters that look like Muppets. There's quite a bit of drama going down. But it's contrasting to the happy world that you're in, where these Bug Snacks that all say their names, which is awesome, just very, very Pokemon-esque.
Yeah, it sounds very familiar to something.
Oh man, and they do such a good job with it. Like the little Strabbies, the strawberry guys, they're like Strabby, running around. Also, the sound design and the level design are so good, and the game's just so wacky. But then the characters are dealing with some intense stuff. The most relatable character is probably Grampus, I think is his name, because he's the only one that refuses to eat Bug Snacks. Thank you, Grampus. You're the only one that makes any sense in this place. Like, sure, they're tasty. Everybody talks about how delicious these Bug Snacks are. Oh, they're so good. But they also transform their limbs into food? Like,
when you eat them?
Yes. You feed a Strabby to someone, they're going to get strawberry hands. It's weird. It's so weird.
I don't know if I like that. Is it worth it?
So I feed as little as possible. Like, I only feed the amount to progress the story because I don't like it. And every single other one I donate to Grampus's ranch and hope that Wiggle, the worst character in the game, doesn't eat them. She's the worst. All right. I haven't met everybody yet, but she's the worst. There's nothing that can top Wiggle.
Well, you should just feed a bunch to her, and then she'll be some weird, crazy.
Dude, they look
food object,
horrifying once they get all the Bug Snacks on. I gave one to this like buff guy, and now he has like bacon strips for arms, essentially. It's like, what is happening right now? I just don't like that. That part is like, this is not okay. I don't like that we can feed the Pokemon to people. I just want the bugs. The Bug Snacks are so well designed. Everything about it's really, really cool. But I feel like the story's going to take turns that I don't want it to. But I'm here for it. I'm here for it. The puzzle solving and adventuring are awesome. The items, the way you combine the items to catch different bugs, really cool. Just all around, great game. Highly recommend. It is on sale right now for the launch window. It is $20 on Switch versus the $25 that it normally will cost. and it was free for a while on PlayStation Plus. So if you didn't pick up, I recommend playing this on whatever platform you can get it on, because it's that good of a game. I do think everybody needs to give this game a try. But in this same regard, it might be a little, the story elements might be a little bit intense for young children.
Yeah, maybe.
Like I'm like, I don't think I want my kids to play this one yet. Yeah. So that's what I've been playing this week, Micah.
Nice. Is that it? Just 3 games?
Just 3 games. I played like so much of those 3 games. I've been playing so much Stanley Parable. I think that's it. No, Micah, I have one more. And I want to talk to you about this one.
Was it Sonic Spinball?
It is Sonic Spinball. How did you know?
Because Sonic Spinball is a great game.
Did you play Sonic Spinball? Have you tried it out?
I actually haven't played it on Switch yet, but I have the original, well, potentially the original, a version of it on like Game Boy Advance or something, somewhere.
What?
I like it. A lot of fun.
Yeah, I like it. It's my favorite Sonic game.
Yeah, it's good from my memories. I don't know why I haven't busted out and tried it yet. I just keep forgetting.
Some of the puzzles are a little hard to figure out what you're supposed to do. Took me a while, but it just mechanically feels really good. It's a really fun pinball game that you can also control Sonic in a little bit. Like when he's in midair, you can move him just a little bit, which affects things. But then there are points where you just are playing Sonic, where you're like
running. Just like running around to get to different areas, kind of. What like world have you made it to?
I beat the second boss. I think I'm in the 3rd world right now.
3rd world. I'm trying to remember if I don't think I ever made it that far. I want to say I maybe made it to 4th, or maybe just the 3rd.
Okay.
As far as I've made it. So I'm excited to try that at some point. I really need to, and see how far I can get now.
Yeah. It's really fun. I'm digging it. Definitely recommend checking it out if you have Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack. It's included in the Genesis Online. So
the Genesis Online has Rewind, doesn't it?
Yes.
I was just curious, how much rewinding have you been doing?
I think I did do it once because I didn't want to start back over at the very beginning of the level. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Yeah. So I think I used it lightly.
Yeah, I can respect that, just because, especially once you like know how to beat the first level really quick, or you at least know what you have to do, and then like the second level, it can kind of just be a drag to have to do them again.
The second level especially was such a drag. Once you knew what to do, to like go through and get everything, and that unlocks the final door to get up to where you want to be. Yeah. Super great game. That's what I've been playing this week. I played a lot of games this week. I probably put in like a good 20 hours into gaming this week, which is well beyond what I normally get to do. Oh my gosh, Micah. I almost forgot another huge one that I played this week. Oh, I can't believe it. Parkasaurus.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
I launched a review for that out on YouTube under our 60-second reviews. You can also check it out on Instagram and TikTok under our accounts there. Parkasaurus is a zoo tycoon like dinosaur farming game, and you run your own Jurassic Park essentially. It's very in depth. There's a ton to it. The onset, you think like this is going to be pretty simple. It's not. It's pretty intense. All the different mechanics at play, but it's very fun. I have played a good portion of it, but my wife has played even more than I have. She's got a really nice dinosaur amusement park that's looking really cool.
Do they ever bust out, start attacking people?
Yes, they do. So you have security, nice. And then if they do bust out, because you didn't hire enough help to manage keeping the fences nice, and you don't have the right kind of fence for the right type of dinosaur. Weak fences, big dinosaurs, they just barrel on through those. Yeah, so then you send in security and they'll tranquilize it, and then you can put it into a pen. I liked the story modes because it's essentially just a big long tutorial. You do the tutorial that teaches you the basics, and then the next thing it will introduce a new mechanic that is optional. Like you don't have to do it, but it's like, hey, why don't we learn about the different levels of dinosaurs that you can get and how to discover more dinosaurs? Oh, here you're going to be managing. Like it dropped me into an abandoned dinosaur sanctuary, and the world was horrified. I remember that was the story of it. The world is horrified. Please help restore faith to the people. And so then you have all these dinosaurs that are in like kennels, like tiny little squares, and you are given a bunch of donations to make a park out of it and give them like proper housing. And it's really fun. I really like it.
I'm still waiting for. I saw the suggestion like forever ago somewhere that someone needs to make a game like that, but at some point, all the dinosaurs escape and it turns into a first-person shooter.
This
And
is that game that you're thinking of.
Oh, it does that right at the end.
No, that was their original intent, I believe. They talked. Yeah, they talked about it would go into a first-person perspective, and you would have to tranquilize the dinosaurs.
That's funny. Yeah,
too ambitious, I think, for how deep the rest of the game is. They just scrapped that side, and it just became like an automatic thing.
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, and then it'd be more difficult depending on essentially how good you are at the first half and how many dinosaurs you had to break out.
Yeah.
But
so Parkosaurus
still waiting for that. Yeah, I didn't know they were kind of actually planning on doing that.
Parkosaurus, the reason I'm kicking myself for forgetting it is because we were actually provided a review code by the developers. So shout out to the team there. Thank you for that. Yeah, I like it. It's a good one. I recommend picking it up if you're looking for a tycoon like game on Switch. It runs really well, and I'm actually really impressed with a game that definitely feels like it should be a PC game, having good controller support. And this game does have really good controller support. You don't feel like there's a disadvantage to playing with a controller. It feels like that's how it was designed, and that's cool. And another game that does that really well is Divinity Original Sin 2, which was originally a PC game and then was ported to console and to Nintendo Switch. The controls for that work surprisingly well for what
kind of game it is. Yeah,
yeah,
I thought it was super good. Yeah. I did have one person say they didn't like it, the controls, but they're more of a PC gamer anyways.
Right. Between the two, if you're more used to the PC version, you're gonna go that. But like, it works fantastically on a controller, and not every game can boast that. I'm looking at you, Civilization. That game did not translate well to controls, to a controller on Switch, at least in my opinion. So, okay, now I've talked about everything this week. I got Parkosaurus, the Stanley Parable, Bug Snacks, Nintendo Switch Sports Game of the Year, and Sonic Spinball. I was like, I feel like I've done more than I've said I've done. What am I missing? Just so many games. So many games.
Oh, I guess I played some Majora's Mask again.
And yes.
Definitely got quite a bit of help from people watching. Because, let's face it, especially to get into the Goron Temple thing, they expect you to make a few leaps, but they don't really explain too much.
Yep.
Plus, sometimes a lot of time when I'm streaming, I get distracted by responding to the people and just forget to read things that people in game actually say to me. There are times where I'm like, hey, to continue through it, and I'm like, I didn't actually read that. So there are probably a couple of situations where I just ignored what they told me and what I was supposed to do. But yeah, definitely glad for the audience was able to help me out there.
Hey, and if you want to join the audience and help us out, you can check out our Twitch channel. That is Nintendo_Pals. at Twitch. We're trying to build up a following there. I think the next giveaway we do will be tied to follows on Twitch, so tune in. It'll be good. Our Twitch streams have been doing pretty good. It's gone down a little bit recently. I'm not exactly sure why, but we're still getting a consistent showing, which is nice. Thanks to everybody who pops in for those. For everybody who's here right now watching this live. Really appreciate it. Y'all are the real MVPs. Most valued pals. Besides that, you didn't play too much this week, right?
Yeah, I guess I did play. I think I did this week. I played a little Rocket League. Not actually on my Switch, but it's a Switch game, so it counts. I still haven't tried it. They got some like new mode in now, I think, actually. I haven't tried out yet.
Spoilers. I also played Rocket League.
And you didn't invite me to play?
In the Stanley Parable.
Oh, wow. Did you win?
Sort of. It was weird. I was like, what? I don't. Yeah, it was so out of left field. But yeah, it's an ending. There's that involves Rocket League.
Sounds like a pretty good ending.
Oh, Mike, you got to play this game. I think you'd like it a lot.
Oh yeah, I mean, hearing that there's so much more content than the original, I'm actually kind of
funny thing is they make so many jokes about how there is no more content. is the best part. It's like, this is all they added? I can't believe this. The narrator gets so upset. It's really great. Really great game.
I rounded up the week with some Don't Starve Together.
Nice. Yeah, so that's out on Switch. Fun. And it's not my kind of game, but our friend group really likes it. Everybody's really into it.
Yeah, I feel like once I've made it like a full year, I'll lose a lot of my desire to play. Because each season comes with new challenges. And we're in the summer season right now where your base just likes to randomly light on fire. So that's a lot of fun. We also don't have any extra ice, which could be dangerous because you can use that to fuel your ice flingomatics that put out fires.
Oh, gosh.
So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. I've talked about why I'm not a huge fan of the game because it's very punishing if you die. I mean, you can get the Telltale Hearts or find the Resurrection Stones. So it's just like it's a grind to start, and just I don't know. I like survival games, but that one just can't click with me for some reason.
Yeah, when you restart, like it is a bit of a grind at first, especially like the first season. You're just like building up your base, and then the second season, by that point, you've probably gotten to it or through it quite a few times. So you know like exactly what you need to do. You just need to like wait until the next season. But it's fun when you get to like seasons you haven't experienced as often.
Right. Yeah, I can see that. Well, that's what we've been playing this week. Let's head to the next segment of our show and talk the Nintendo news. In today's Nintendo news, we don't have a whole lot to talk about, but let's talk about this though. This is Miyamoto. I apologize, but we're delaying the Mario Bros. Movie.
I mean, that gives me hope there's going to be a hidden Link cameo or something like that.
Oh, yeah. So Miyamoto actually personally signed in on Twitter. There's footage of him doing it. No, there's not. But there's a tweet out that it starts, "This is Miyamoto," and then explains that talking with Chris-san, not Chris Pratt, but an executive named Chris.
I mean, it could be a different Chris. Universal. I wondered.
Is it Chris Pratt? Is he in contact? Like, hey, Chris Pratt, should we delay this movie? And he's like, yeah, I haven't quite nailed the Mario voice
Yeah,
yet.
he doesn't. Yeah, the voice isn't quite there yet.
I need more time. Um, who knows? Who knows what's going on? You know, Chris Pratt is from our hometown. Did you know that, Micah?
I did.
Like
Isn't
right
he
next
like
door.
Lake Stevens or something?
Yeah,
Right?
like pretty close to where we grew up. So, hey, Nintendo, if you're looking for someone to voice some characters in the next
Where you're going with
animated,
that.
if you're looking for voices for the next animated movie, look no further.
Do you need
Nintendo
those
Pals.
characters to only say 3 words? Are those
Yup.
3 words yup and pretty good? I'm your man.
You get to voice what's like a silent character. Like that would be hilarious. Like
It's
Micah as the voice.
I end up voicing Link.
Yeah.
And at the end of the adventure, after he saves all of Hyrule, everyone's like, "Oh, thank you, Link," and he's just like, "Yep." That's his one line, and then it immediately cuts out, fades to black. That cuts to black.
Yes, I'd watch that movie. I'd give that movie a very high rating. It's like 11 out of 10. Good movie. Great ending.
Would recommend.
It's pretty good. Oh, so yeah, that's a bummer. What do you think the delay is? Do you think they're just
I don't know. It might be a little quality control. You know how Nintendo's at least can be very particular. They've released some previous shows that they weren't too particular about, but
they're still traumatized?
Yeah, I think that's probably why they're so particular now.
The movie's ready, but Miyamoto, they're like, all right, Miyamoto, can we show a trailer? Miyamoto's like, no, I'm not ready yet. And he pulls it back in, and he hides away in the office for another few months. And he's like, I'll just send out a tweet. I'll tell everybody it's delayed. He's in there panicking. Yeah. Oh gosh. I like this narrative of Miyamoto. The same guy that is like up on stages wielding the Wii remotes like a master sword is embarrassed by the movie. No, it's probably just production's behind, or maybe a change of scheduling. Maybe there's a game coming out with it, and that's not ready. Mario Odyssey 2,
or that
featuring the voice of Chris
rumored
Pratt.
3D
Donkey Kong.
I could not think of Donkey Kong's name.
Yeah. And maybe they're just going to release the Donkey Kong movie like 2 months later, you know?
That would be a twist, to give all this publicity to the Mario movie, and then suddenly there's also a Donkey Kong movie.
What will be really funny is if that comes out first. Somehow it gets delayed, and Seth Rogen's Donkey Kong movie comes out before the Mario Bros. Movie. So, yeah. I was looking forward to this movie, but we hadn't seen anything about it. You know, I would think we would see a trailer soon. Hopefully that means we'll be seeing stuff for it sooner. And
yeah, I mean, maybe like spring. I mean, that is like a full year, I guess, but it wouldn't be too crazy, I think, to get a trailer in like 6 months.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good spring. We're gonna have a Mario Bros. Movie, Breath of the Wild 2. Everything you could ever need.
All the other games coming out also this year. Potentially Prime 4. After all, it has been like 1,200 days, I think, since we last heard something.
That would be a twist. And unexpected, but pleasant twist. I don't know. Not unwelcome. That's what I'm trying to say. Next bit of news we have is that there's been web art released for the Pokemon Legends Arceus web series, and the first episode of that premieres May 18th. It looks really good based off the artwork.
From like the one panel I saw.
The trailer also makes it look like
there's a trailer.
It's very light on content in the trailer.
It has to be a trailer of like pictures. Although essentially that's all that trailers are, just lots of pictures. But you get my point.
Yeah. What is a movie but just a bunch of pictures? Maybe that's why the Mario movie's delayed. They're still taking the pictures. That's what's going on.
Mario had to take a little break, so they couldn't get all the pictures they needed at once.
Yeah, and that's all we got going for the news this week. So not a ton to talk about there, but we do have, just a sneaky little rumor. That is right. We have the rumor Pikmin that we send out each and every week to get us some rumors. They've brought back something, and they brought back that Ubisoft is on the market for acquisition. This rumor comes from I want to say Kotaku.
Oh no,
oh no,
not them.
It actually might be Bloomberg, but I trust them just as much, if not. This is how it goes when I start talking about rumors. No, it's Kotaku. It's sources that senior and current former Ubisoft developers are suggesting that the company could be preparing for possible sale.
So they're suggesting that they could be preparing for a possible sale.
Yeah, and these are former Ubisoft developers.
I'm pretty sure they are 100% correct either way.
Yeah. So, what do you think, Mike? Is Elon Musk out for another acquisition? He bought Twitter and Ubisoft next. What's happening here?
I mean, it's the only reasonable jump.
Right.
After buying Twitter, you gotta buy Ubisoft.
Gotta get that Just Dance,
Yeah.
That's what. It's like, I have everything I need to be happy. Twitter and Just Dance.
Yeah, I don't know how I'd feel about that, because that could put a damper potentially on, unless Nintendo's the one that would buy them. But it could put a damper on Mario and Rabbids 3.
Oh, true. Mario and Rabbids was a Ubisoft collaboration.
But, I mean, who knows if they even have plans to make a third one. The second one's still a ways off.
Nintendo's looking to acquire Ubisoft because they want the Rabbids. They're like, they're now Mario canon. They're in everything now. They're gonna be in the new movie, voiced by Micah.
Donkey Kong and Rabbids. That's what the title of the new Donkey Kong movie is going to be.
Now that all the Metroids are in captivity or destroyed. The new enemy of Samus Aran is Rabbids.
Aran?
Aaron? Yes.
That's why I was like, is that how you usually say it?
I
sort of
said it halfway committed to both. Aran? Yeah, it's Iran. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, I always say Aaron, but who knows?
I don't know. Am I saying?
I don't know her personally. So
which way do you say it? Iran or Aaron?
Aaron.
Okay. I thought you were correcting me saying it, Aaron. But did I say Iran? I don't know. Who knows?
You said like Iran or something.
Samus's new enemy, who has maybe a last name, but we don't know. Samus's
we'll just leave that off.
Enemy is Rabbids, and the Legend.
I mean, Rabbids and Metroids, pretty similar.
Legend of they both kill your brain. That's for sure. Oh, okay.
You're so proud of yourself.
That wasn't that good of a joke. The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Rabbid. It's a horrible game.
Although, speaking of Rabbids, that second one, we just have a release date for this year, right?
Yeah. Do you think
it's getting kind of late to not know a little more?
Stop! Why this year was supposed to be stacked, and it is still, but it's like
all my favorite games have been delayed or are going to be delayed. Sounds like.
Micah, you just
meanwhile, Xenoblade 3, the one game I don't even care about, comes out early. Bunch of malarkey.
They're like, Nintendo Switch Sports, that's on time. Micah's not getting that, so we'll release that one on time. Micah, what's next game you're looking forward to?
Well,
Strikers?
Next I got to hear about Strikers. It wasn't coming along as we were hoping, so we are starting over from scratch.
Oh no! Stop!
2 months before it's supposed to come out. Actually, still like
we didn't want to compete with Nintendo Switch Sports Soccer, so we're changing it to Mario Teaches Typing 2.
I think what you meant to say was they didn't want to destroy Switch Sports Soccer.
It's going to. I mean, Switch Sports Soccer is light, but way light, and you can't fight people. I'm very excited to make Luigi
I noticed
just
when I
deck
saw
someone
you
in the face.
I saw you in stream. You tried to kick someone in the back.
I was like, "Oh no, they're not getting that ball." I did a jump kick as well, not just a regular kick. I jumped and attempted to just kick their head off. You know, I'm all here for and ready for Mario Strikers. Let's go. Oh man, yeah. So Ubisoft, this all stemmed from Ubisoft rumors. Who would you like to buy Ubisoft? I don't know if I want Nintendo to have Ubisoft. Ubisoft is hit and miss. Hit or miss? Not hit and miss. Hit or miss on games.
Or hit and miss, because they have games that are hit and games that are miss.
Yes. Okay. Well, now I've lost all perception of what even the saying means.
I think it's usually hit or miss. Because in relation to each new thing coming out.
Ubisoft is Assassin's Creed as well, right?
Yeah.
I think that's I mean, they have a good relationship with Nintendo doing the Rabbids. There have been Assassin's Creed games on Switch coming through ports. The new games don't ever launch on Switch, but there was like a DS version exclusive to the DS. That was a platformer. It was an interesting game.
I don't even remember that.
And Just Dance, which is quintessentially a Wii game. Like that, it released on the Wii until like the last game that came out. Right?
Yeah, they finally moved on.
They're like, okay, we're not releasing this one on the Wii. So
yeah,
I mean, the Switch is the new like they take the torch. They are the Just Dance platform now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I had to choose someone to buy them, I would probably just say Nintendo, though, because that way we won't potentially miss out on things. Like there's a chance if someone else acquires them.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I mean, more options are good, even if I skip most of the games.
I just don't like all these acquisitions. I don't like it. Like let's stop with this. This is getting to be a bit much, I think. And you know, are indies rising to be the new just regular developers? And then there's like a new level of indies. These are the beginning indies. We can call them the bindies.
Oh yeah, I don't like that. You got indies, and then you got the indies that are practically too big to be called indies at this point anymore, but are still sometimes referred to as indies.
Yeah.
It seems like essentially like anything but the big three is practically an indie.
Yeah, well, didn't like Squaresoft have like something in the Indie World Showcase? And you're like, why? You're Square Enix. What?
It was with like a new young team or something, wasn't it? Though
this is our indie team in our massive team. So yeah, take that. That is a good point. Yeah. Right. That's all we have to talk for rumors. So, Micah, what do you say we move to? What do you say we take no segue at all and we just move right into the next segment of our show and let's talk the community corner. In today's community corner, we have a bunch of questions. Okay. Also coming up on a record here, you know, I should probably act like this is how it's always been, but it really hasn't. We've been growing a lot recently. We're still small. We're still a small cast, but this is the second week in a row where we are loaded with questions, and I didn't even have to ask for questions. Like for a long while, I was asking every week, like, "Hey, anybody?
Please ask something.
Anybody have questions or topics they want to submit for the show?" And I guess I still ask that every week in the show. So if you would like to submit a question or topic to the show, you can reach out to us through our many social media channels or hit us up on Discord. We have some from unexpected places this week, Micah. So let's, should we dive into this?
Let's do it.
First question comes from Twitter. From Dustin on Twitter. So sorry if this is a bit wordy. Why do you think Nintendo makes cloud versions of games available when it seems that the overall Switch player base doesn't seem to want them? I play on the Switch, cloud game outside of the Switch, and mobile games interchangeably. And so what do you think?
I don't know if it's necessarily even like a Nintendo choice, really. It's like the developers of the games kind of make the choice. And I mean, I don't know why Nintendo would necessarily be like, "Now we're not going to allow you to release a cloud version."
Mhm.
But I mean, and
that is
I mean,
a great point. There is no first party Nintendo cloud games.
Yeah,
All of them are. I think they have to work with Nintendo somewhat, or maybe it's a different company altogether that does.
Well,
them.
they probably have to at least get some quality check or something to make sure it runs well enough. But I mean, if that's the only way, I mean, I definitely prefer not cloud gaming. I've actually done very little of it though, so I can't judge it too much. But I mean, if that's the only way you'd be able to play it on a Nintendo system, sure. But I'd prefer like a maybe even a little bit of a graphical downgrade to get some games to work would be better. But then again, that's also more effort. So you'd probably get more sales potentially because some people would be upset about it not looking as good. But you'd also have to put in a lot more effort to get it working.
Yeah, I think it's all business decisions. There are some games, every game has the potential to be downgraded to running on the Switch. And that's what would have to happen for a lot of these games that are developed on the absolute fanciest, latest hardware available. Like they are pushing what they can do graphically, and if hardware like the Switch is not capable of doing that, they would have
and
to.
if you don't have a $2,000+ computer, you can't run it at the top settings.
Right. And I think that that's it's always possible to do that.
Yeah.
But it would require lots of work, especially if you're designing for those newer platforms. So then the question is like, well, maybe we should just be designing for the lowest spec thing, like, and that's probably the Switch out of the popular gaming consoles. We'll design to that, and then we'll upscale it for the other things. But then you're designing with limits that maybe you don't want to have.
Yeah.
It's really up to the development teams and the honestly, it's probably business decisions, not even made by developers up on the top of the chain.
Yeah, people that pay the developers and tell them what to do, essentially.
But my belief is that every indie game should be on Switch. It's the indie machine, and like that's most every indie can run on the Switch to some capacity. Bug Snacks, for example, is originally a PlayStation exclusive. It graphically looks good on the Switch. Maybe has slightly longer loading times, but I was talking with Seth before the show while we were playing Nintendo Switch Sports, and he was saying that it's pretty comparable to the PS4 load times, or like the PS5. It's like super fast playing Bug Snacks. PS4 did have load screens, and the Switch definitely has load screens between areas. It's nothing detrimental to the gameplay, but of note. So I think that that's just what you got to do. I personally, Dustin, I could see where the thought process comes from, but that, like, why even do it? And it's because they don't want to spend a ton of money, but they do want to maybe get some cash from, the most popular console on the market right now. So they're like, well, we'll just like get a little skim of people on the top that will buy the cloud version, even though this isn't what the fans want.
And in like Kingdom Hearts, I feel like them releasing those cloud versions of those games kind of just like advertisement and to get people hyped for the new Kingdom Hearts coming out.
I think that in the case of Kingdom Hearts is a mistake. Like there are certain games where it's like, no, like, Dying Light. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, that's a cloud version. That makes sense. Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. What? No, make those native. That
And those definitely seem like they should be able to run native,
they're PS2.
like relatively easy.
They're PS2 games. What? Kingdom Hearts 3. Okay, I feel like Kingdom Hearts 3. I could have been like, yeah, that's justifiably a cloud version, but the other ones, no. And that's one of those things where it's like they could have quintupled the sales by doing a physical release or a native release, because part of the problem with the cloud versions is that you do need to be connected to a strong internet connection at all times, and that kind of defeats the purpose of the Switch. The principle that you can take it and go play your game anywhere you want to play. You're playing on the
like
train,
on an airplane,
the bus,
or at the basketball courts.
Yeah, up on your rooftop parties.
Oh yeah. I can't believe I forgot about the rooftop party playing.
So I just.
But let's be honest.
That's why
people places played most on the toilet.
That's the thing. Is like I agree. Most of the Switch player base doesn't seem to want them, but that's also the vocal audience of the Switch that has an online voice, where that is not the entirety of the audience of the Switch. So that audience, I think, is going to be split down the middle. There's going to be people that don't care, or that just don't know, and then people that don't care and do buy the game. So I think the hope in putting cloud versions onto the Switch is that they'll get something. They're like, well, we'll get a little bit of something for tiny investment into putting this onto a cloud version of the game.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for the question, Dustin. He has another question for us as well, and I like this one as well. What are your favorite Switch era songs? Mine are Jump Up Superstar, the Smash Ultimate theme, and Kirby and the Forgotten Land. That I'm assuming the vocal theme there. Micah, what do you got for us?
Well, joke's on you, because Smash Ultimate is a Switch era game, and I'm going to pull Metroid Prime music from Switch Ultimate and say the Metroid Prime theme is my favorite Switch era song.
What? Are you serious right now? That's not a Switch era song.
It is indeed.
No,
Smash Ultimate did not come out on the Switch, did it not?
Does that
okay, fine.
Represent
the entire
era?
Soundtrack of Golden Sun also in Smash Bros. Ultimate. Luigi's Mansion.
I can't with this guy. What am I supposed to do here, people?
Luigi's Mansion theme as well.
Luigi's Mansion 3?
Oh no, Luigi's Mansion for the GameCube.
Okay, well, I tried.
In Smash Ultimate.
I mean, Dustin took all the good ones, right? Jump Up Superstar is probably the defining Switch song, right? Like, yeah, that's. Are you looking it up? Do you not remember the song?
Is that not the Mario?
Yes, it's the Mario Odyssey song.
yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yes, see, Odyssey, yes, see. Yeah, that's a great song. So give it some thought.
Yeah, it's like I don't know, like I'm a bit partial to especially the beginning of Cass's theme from Breath of the Wild.
Oh, that's a good pick. I was gonna say the main theme, the da 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 na na. The trailer music. When you first.
Yeah.
It's like
it took a little bit from what you did for me to make the connection, but now that I made the connection, it was pretty good. It's pretty good.
If only I could. If only you had an accordion and you could just bust out the gas.
And I could play the accordion.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Or even like when you're around the Hyrule Castle. I remember that song being really good.
Yeah, but I think Cass's theme sort of like the song that you like associate with that. If you had to pick like a theme song for that, either maybe I'd say Terrytown. There's a strong connection with that one. But Jump Up Superstar is probably it. I liked that one more than the Smash Ultimate theme.
How dare you?
Jump Up Superstar? I feel like that's not a hot take.
My memory is so bad. I'm like, I cannot think of the Smash Bros. Ultimate theme at all right now. I've gotten worse with music as I've aged. I feel like I hear songs in games, I'm like, oh, this is so good. And then like 2 weeks later, I'm like, I don't remember how that went at all. But I do have to give an honorable mention to Doom Eternal. That soundtrack.
Yeah.
Not my kind of music at all.
Not the Switch era.
It fits so good. It's close enough.
Jump Up Superstar is my pick. And I'll follow that by Cass's theme with Mike. I'm stealing your answer.
Wow.
But that's your answer, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
I'm sure there are better ones. I just can't think of them right now, but that
I want to say Nintendo Switch Sports theme. It's stuck in my head currently, but I was just playing it before we started recording. So maybe that's a little unfair, but I like it so far.
Yeah, what about some good old Mario Kart Jazz, like Nintendo suggests?
Well, that's Wii U era. I mean, they didn't change the music coming forward, but it's really good. Oh, I'm a sucker for the saxophone. Anytime you bring in a saxophone, I'm there. I'm there for it.
I believe they just added a pretty smooth jazz song to Rocket League, actually, so you can kind of count that.
All right, I got to get back into Rocket League right now. Right now. Thanks so much for the questions. Let's go to the next one here. This one comes to us from Spotify. Did you know that you can leave comments on Spotify podcasts? It's kind of weird. We actually can ask questions on Spotify for people to answer that are listening on Spotify. And I asked a question, what sports would you like to see in Nintendo Switch Sports, or what's your favorite Nintendo Switch Sports? And no, I asked the question, do you think the Game Boy leaks are true? Do you think they're real? And we got an answer
from a star
from Swagger Boy. And it was no. And then followed that with a question. Unfortunately,
I'm also kind of thinking they're potentially not real, so.
Can one of you or both of you record yourself playing a video game and review it?
I mean, can we? Yes.
Have we? Yes. Please check out our YouTube channel, Nintendo Pals, over on YouTube. Also, we record ourselves playing games every week on Twitch. Seriously, check it out. It's great content, y'all. That's like part of our brand. So appreciate the question, though, Swagger Boy, because it gives us a chance to plug our stuff. You're too kind. Also, I'm going to be asking more questions on our Spotify side of things. So if you want to jump over to Spotify and answer those questions, or maybe leave us a question in the comments there, we can see them. I finally figured out. I was doing this for a while. This is a side note here. I was doing this for a while because it's been a feature implemented for a while. But guess what wasn't a feature? Actually seeing the answers. So
what?
Yes, that was recently added. I can now see the answers. I would get an email. It was like, you have answers to your questions. Like, well, how do I see them? It was like, I would go into it would take me to the landing page for Anchor, where we host our podcast, and there was nothing. So it's recently been updated, and now we can actually see those. So apologies to everybody that left us answers to those questions beforehand. I was just kind of messing with it. I've only done like 3, I think, because I was like, what does this do? You know. Thank you for leaving answers, by the way, to the people that have. And we will see them from now on. The next question comes from, I'm going to skip down here. Next question comes from Apple Podcast 5-star reviews. That's right. The return of Parbrand. Parbrand left us another 5-star review, which doesn't actually change the count of 5-star reviews, but just updates it. Parbrand has some more questions for us. I put it down here, Parbrand. You didn't get a shout out this time, but you've been shouted out. All right. So listen, can't keep doing that every week, but we can keep answering your questions. So thank you for submitting questions to us. So So there was a whole bunch here. I picked out some of these questions here. What are your thoughts on horror games?
Not a fan.
It's a long pause. I was like, I'm not gonna answer this question until Micah does. All right, I'm gonna make him
I thought
squirm.
you were going to say something first, so I didn't want to interrupt what you were about to say.
What
I am
episode are we on? And we're like still not sure how to do the timing on these questions. Episode 87. Anyways,
yeah, I mean, not a fan of horror games, horror movies. Maybe it's just me, but once you have a few sleep paralysis dreams where you hallucinate and see horrifying things, you don't want to see them in the daytime as well either, because that potentially fuels those terrible dreams.
So
not a fan. I get enough of that on occasion.
When my wife and I first got married, she had nightmares all the time. Like, would just wake up like super freaked out.
Like scared. After you got married? That seems a little suspicious.
Yeah. I'm a scary guy. But she actually, prior to us getting married, watched a lot of like zombie shows and zombie movies. She liked scary movies. And I don't like that stuff at all. I'm such a chicken head. I'm such a scaredy cat. I'm like, no. Because Micah had sleep paralysis junk going on. I have this problem where things that I watch just play on repeat in my mind. Like, so I'm actually very careful with what kind of TV shows, movies, and content in general that I consume, because my brain overactively thinks about things that I watch. And so I don't know why, but I just will play that on repeat. And so I don't want to be thinking about scary things all the time and being freaked out all the time. So I don't like that. I don't want it. And yeah, that's not for me. And so because of that, my wife stopped watching those, because I was like, no, I will not. I'm sorry. You can. I'm not doing it. But she stopped. And you know what? She doesn't have those nightmares anymore. It's been a long time. It was like first 6 months of marriage, and we sleep better. So you know what? Horror games, no thanks. That being said,
in other words, we're just a bunch of pansies.
That being said, if that's your thing, there are people that really love it, have a lot of fun with it. I won't hate on that. I think it's a medium that should exist somewhat. But not for me.
Somewhat and somewhere else.
Stanley Parable had some like slight horror elements that I wasn't into, but they did them well.
Although I feel like there's kind of a difference between like horror and like kind of scary suspense.
Mm-hmm. I don't like that either, but
I'm not generally a big fan of scary suspense, but that's not too bad.
Yeah, just it was so funny.
Horror scariness.
It was so funny while being scary. Okay, anybody that's like on the fence on getting Stanley Parable, like you need to play it, okay? But it's very similar to Portal humor and themes, like that dark comedy. That's what it is. Did you know it's actually based off of a Half-Life mod?
I had no idea.
Yeah. So this is where Half-Life ends up. Is in an office. It's like an office space. That's a little creepy. Empty, abandoned offices. That's weird. Don't like it.
With children laughing in the background.
What? Is that a thing that happens?
I don't know, but children laughing can be very creepy.
I mean, depending on the scenario, children laughing can also be very good and happy.
It's like there's some clip I saw where it's comparing like children laughing in the daytime versus at night.
Yeah, I get that.
I wish I like remembered where I saw that, because that was really funny.
Next question for Parbrand asks, this isn't a question actually. This is a statement. Do post credits on Nintendo Pals? We do. We do post credits. We actually have an entire show after this show called the Post Show. Every week we do the post show. If you're wanting to catch that, that's only part of the live stream for now. But we have those recorded, and they will eventually be added to a planned Patreon. That'll be a Patreon exclusive show, and also people watching live on Twitch. So yeah, if you check out our Twitch channel, you can check the post show where we keep rolling after the credits.
When I first heard that question, I was thinking like movie credits. I was like, do we really need to do that? It'd be like Nintendo Pals, Andros, and Micah, and that'd be it. That's all of our credits.
Starring Andros, starring Micah, written and directed.
I guess now we have our like manager.
Yeah, content manager. Oh yeah, behind the scenes, we actually have a third Nintendo Pal that is working the content management side of things. So if you see notes from them, that's who that is. They're not a fake account. Now there's going to be like fake accounts, like reaching out to people like, hello, we're the Nintendo Pals. Don't do that, please. That's not okay. Oh, goodness. All right.
Unless you're reaching out about getting us a review code for Prime 4.
Last question.
Then maybe it's allowed.
Last question from Parbrand. Do you have a favorite restaurant? You're waiting for me to answer this time. Okay.
Two can play at that game. And trust me, I'm much better at it.
Favorite restaurant. Okay, I'm going to give tiers here. I'm going to give favorite fast food. And then I'll give a favorite like sit down. And that's it. that's what I'm going to do. Fast food and sit down. Favorite fast food currently, I'd say, is Chick-fil-A. I'm a big fan of chicken sandwiches. And they're the last fast food chain that actually is fast food. I'm just going to go right out there and say it.
You don't think McDonald's is fast?
No. Heck no. Have you been to a McDonald's lately and ordered something? It takes forever. Everything in the fast food industry, they're all short on staff at the moment.
Staffing, yeah.
And like
fair enough.
Fast food is not fast anymore in the current state of things. Except at Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A, it's still pretty quick. And I like the combo of the chicken sandwiches. I like the waffle fries. They're pretty good. Favorite restaurant currently is a local restaurant. They call it Grumpy's. And it is a diner. This last time I went there, I got a Lucky Charm waffle.
That doesn't sound appetizing, not gonna lie.
It was so good. Sugary, like terrible for me, but so good. It used this like frosting syrup that was and it had Peeps on it. I like Peeps. Peeps are great.
Peeps are great, like once a year, kind of a thing.
I agree with that. I don't have and on s'mores. We're talking food.
I have not
you
tried
can get
that.
me going. Excuse me.
Or if you just microwave them for fun.
You haven't tried Peeps?
Real big.
You haven't tried roasted Peeps before?
No, it sounds dangerous. Melting the sugar, it would turn
like
to like lava caramel though.
Yeah, it like caramelizes around the marshmallow. It gives it it's got that crunch, but without the, I burnt my marshmallow crunch.
Without tasting like turd.
Yeah.
Some people like that flavor, but
so that's my current favorite restaurant. I like the local diner type restaurants. Those are the best ones.
Yeah. My favorite restaurant's like kind of practically McDonald's, just because it's also real cheap, and I do like chicken sandwiches. But I generally don't eat out that often. So I was gonna say something besides McDonald's. Although I gotta admit, Chick-fil-A definitely has better chicken sandwiches. They just cost more. So are they really worth it? It's the real question.
You get what you pay for, man, and it's faster. Expedited sandwich.
But I like I think it's just local-ish around where I am. Los Margaritas. Mexican food.
Mm-hmm.
That's real good. They give you a lot of beans and rice with like everything, and their beans and rice are so good.
Oh yeah.
That's how they keep it kind of less expensive, but it tastes delicious anyways. So
now I'm real hungry. Thanks so much for the questions, Parbrand. Parbrand also recommended some games, so we'll be taking a look at those behind the scenes, Parbrand. So we'll definitely look at that. and also was like, hey, you should interview this person. So thank you for the suggestions and recommendations. Next questions, jumping into Discord. What do we got?
Presto the Magnificent.
Mm-hmm.
When do you think the other waves of the Mario Kart DLC will come out?
I'm going to guess we'll get the next one in June timeframe.
Sounds about right.
When did the last one launch?
It's a good question that I do not remember the answer to. It hasn't been that long, like a month.
Yeah, I'm going to guess like,
but
how many waves were there? I've got to like do math
going to
in
be
my head.
6, I believe, and
Yeah, so
supposedly through the end of next year.
Through the end of next year, or just through mid next year?
I seem to remember hearing through the end of, but I don't know how accurate that is.
Well, if that's the case, then we're gonna see them like every,
because it's probably once every
4 months,
3 or 4 months.
So maybe we
about
won't,
4
maybe
months.
we won't
I think
see it
once
till
every 4 months.
July. Maybe we won't see it till July, and then the next one will be. Well, no.
But, I mean, who knows? It might just be through next year.
Every 4 months. Yeah, every 4-ish months. June feels like a good time frame to do another one.
This what I see says in 6 waves through the end of 2023.
Yeah. So that's my guess. I bet they'll just use it as a little sprinkle onto other Nintendo Directs. Right? They'll be like, and by the way, the next wave of Mario Kart DLC is
kind of like the
courses.
New kind of Smash Bros. Reveal.
Yep. Not quite as cool. They could have made it as cool, but they didn't make it quite as cool. Smash Bros. Just had something special with those real trailers. Next question kind of builds off that one from Piranha Plant, new to the Discord this last week. Thank you for joining, Piranha Plant. Welcome. Definitely a great character to have in your Discord, I'd say. What is your favorite Mario Kart course from each game and why? I will start. So the SNES version of Mario Kart has a lot of duplicates in that it'll have Donut Plains 1, Donut Plains 2, and Donut Plains 3 that all use the same theme with a different track layout. So I'm not going to drill it down to specifics here, but Koopa Beach, and I think probably the first or second one was my favorite. So Koopa Beach is my favorite one in the original Mario Kart.
Wow, yeah, you just like took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, you didn't really have that one or play too
No,
much.
I don't know if I've played more than 5 minutes of this, just trying it out on the SNES online.
And next would be the N64. And for that one, my favorite level, when I was a kid, I'd say my favorite level was Toad's Turnpike, but I don't really feel that way anymore about Toad's Turnpike. I think I'm going to go with Koopa Beach again. I like, or what is it called? Koopa Beach in the N64 version?
Koopa Troopa Beach?
Koopa Troopa Beach. Yeah. And the rocks
definitely not looking at a list, just thinking real hard. Yeah. Stare off at things while thinking.
I like that level a lot. The level design, the music, it all comes together. There's that big shortcut you can take if you have a mushroom. You can try and jump through the shortcut through a cave. I like that.
Oh, yeah.
What do you got?
My favorite, N64? Although it's kind of actually like the worst level, but Banshee Boardwalk. I don't know why, but ever since we tried 8 million times to beat it,
you've gained an appreciation.
I've learned to appreciate Banshee Boardwalk.
What is this called when you like
similar to Stockholm Syndrome?
Yes, that's what you read my mind there. Stockholm Syndrome for this level. How did you know what I was going to say? We're so in sync here at the Nintendo Pals. All right, I don't even have to. Micah just takes the words right out of my mouth, and I can take the words right out of his mouth. Ocarina of Time is not that good of a game.
Oh, we have proof. Andros agrees. I can't believe you just willingly said that for the second time, essentially. You did before agree with me that Wind Waker was better than Ocarina of Time.
It's not proof of anything. I was being
There is proof.
Being you here and now. That was what Micah would say. I believe Ocarina of Time is a great game. So that's for the record. That's what I want on the record.
It's too late.
Next game is
there are no takebacks on the internet.
GameCube Double Dash. Or is it DS? No, DS
or
came
is it
after
Game
Double
Boy
Dash.
Advance?
Game Boy Advance. I didn't play the Game Boy Advance one more than like 5 seconds, so I will say Sky Garden. That's like the only one I played.
I mean, obviously it's Yoshi Desert.
Okay. All right, you're picking Yoshi Desert. Yeah.
Also have not played it. I just think Yoshi's cool.
Okay, so GameCube. What's your pick? This is Double Dash is a big one for you. That's your Mario Kart.
Shout out to Baby Park. That one's a fun one.
It's really not though.
It really is though.
It's fine.
It's fun in a terrible way.
It's just a circle.
Yeah, but everyone's within reach all the time. There's something fun about if you happen to get in first place and you loop around and then you hit the person in last place.
Yeah, that there is something to be said there.
The ultimate insult to injury, or I guess injury to insult. Who knows? What is the name?
By the way, N. Johnson in chat is agreeing with you that Ocarina of Time is more of a nostalgia trip than a great game.
What a gentleman and a scholar.
Still a favorite and a classic, but it's aged as a dungeon puzzle.
Wow. Finally, someone gets it.
I appreciate that there are all types of people in this world. And, Micah needs friends. So thank you for being here.
I cannot figure out the name.
That was such a backhanded, like not an insult, but just like
I'm used to it. Oh, maybe it's Mushroom Bridge. That's probably it. It's the one that has the bridge. We can go up the sides and they have the boosts.
Oh yeah.
Just because I don't know, I just remember that so clearly. Trying to do that every time.
I'm gonna say Dino. It's Dino something.
Oh yeah, with the dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
Yeah,
and they brought that one forward a couple times, and it's good, and it's rumored to be coming. So let's go. Let's hope that's true. Next is Mario Kart DS, and there's no question here. It's Waluigi Pinball for me. Micah, you didn't play this one.
Nope.
You got any picks from like future games? Because courses did come back.
I mean, I'm like looking at this. I realized I'm on like an every other year plan with, or every other game, I guess, plan with Mario Kart.
Mario Kart. Hey,
I didn't actually have the 64, but I played it a bit. But then I skipped GameCube or Game Boy Advance, and then got GameCube, then skipped DS, then got Wii, then skipped 3DS, and then got the Wii U, and I skipped the Switch. Well, that kind of counts as the same.
Wait, no. What's happening here is you skipped every handheld version of Mario Kart.
True, and the Switch, although that is kind of a hybrid system. So, but I also skipped SNES.
Okay, I'd venture to say that portable Mario Kart was my favorite Mario Kart, and it still is because the Switch is portable and a console. Yeah, it's really good. And that's a game to play on the go. Mario Kart DS was fantastic, man. What a game! Because you could play with the download play with up to 8 players, and
that's just
that was a good
cool.
Time. It's such a great feature. Like, could you imagine if they had that on Switch? Like local download play,
so fantastic.
We could all play multiplayer Mario Kart if just one person has it. Oh, that would be fantastic. Okay. So you don't have a pick for DS? You're not even going to try
Luigi's Mansion for DS. I believe it's a battle course or something.
Okay.
Actually,
there is a mansion level.
Supposedly this is an actual track.
Yeah, it's pretty good, actually. I like that one.
Well, of course it's pretty good. It's Luigi's Mansion.
Next up would be the Wii. So what do you got from Mario Kart Wii?
Wario's Gold Mine. Okay. I'm mostly just saying the ones that stick out most in my memory. I don't know if they're necessarily my favorites, but
I'm going to pick DK Summit. DK Summit is one of my favorites. The snowy summit level.
Both of the DK mountain levels. Summit, and I can't remember. The other one might just be called Mountain.
Yeah.
They're pretty fun.
The ones where you shoot out of a barrel cannon.
Yeah.
At the start of the level. Those are great. 3DS. Mario Kart 7. I don't remember what's exclusive to that game versus what's not. Oh, but hello. I'm gonna pick the
Woohoo.
Mount Makawuhu level where you drive up to the top and then just glide down to an island where the finish line is. Fantastic level.
Yeah, I think I'll second that one as having not actually really played any of them, but it sounds cool.
There was originally a shortcut that you could take by using a mushroom in a specific spot on the mountain that would drop you, like it would take you up to the top, and you'd skip to the third segment because it wasn't a lap race. It was like 3 segments. I love the courses that do that, where it's like.
Do you remember like the Grumble? I think was it Grumble Volcano?
Grumble Volcano,
the level that like falls apart,
mm-hmm.
and you could like boost up to that item box thing.
Yep,
and just circle around for all 3 laps.
Yep. Super shortcuts, man. Those are the best. There's a super shortcut in the Woohoo Mountain level, and it was super fun. You'd have to aim it just right, but it wasn't too bad, and then you would be way ahead of all the computers. And the rubber banding in that game, like, because you did that, all of the computer carts would just suddenly be flying. Like, wait a second, they can't go that fast, and they're just like trying to catch up with you because you're so far ahead.
Yeah, and aren't items actually based off? They're not actually based off position, but how far from first place. I'm pretty sure they do that in some of the later games, at least.
Or so I've heard. Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah.
So I like if you're like really far back, then you're getting just like straight bullet bills all the time.
Okay, so then we're coming to Mario Kart 8. And we'll just say Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So favorite
but I don't
course.
own that one.
Yes, you do.
Do I? Or do I just have Mario Kart 8?
You just got it recently.
Oh, I do have it. That's right, because of the Bears, one of their young children put the game in one of my plastic bags.
Yeah, and then you just paid it
that
back.
I took home. Yeah. I forgot I had this, not gonna lie.
You're like, why am I not playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe? I was like, what are you talking about right now? Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, all the tracks. What is your favorite? Hello. It's Excite Bike. That's my favorite track. I just love the music.
Bike? It's not even that good.
I love the music, and I love doing the jumps. It kind of harkens back to why I like DK Summit, where if you get the jumps just right, you're going to be going faster than everybody else. So like doing all of the extra mechanics besides just racing. Maybe that's why I like it. And
maybe you just need to race better, then you don't have to do those extra mechanics.
Or maybe I can just like what levels I want. All right. what do you got? What are you going to pick?
That's a good question. I think Sunshine Airport might be one of my favorites.
Ooh, that's a good one. And the music's really good. Shout out to Dolphin Shoals, which has my favorite music in the game. That's a good song. Thanks so much for the question, Piranha Plant. That was a little bit longer of a question. Appreciate it. It's fun to reminisce and make Micah panic about what the heck Mario Karts did I even play? What Mario Kart do I even own?
Oh, please. I looked at these questions so far in advance. I had all my research done.
I didn't have to research. This was like all pulled on the spot. But this is how much Mario Kart I played.
I had to look up the names at least to remind myself what they were called, and then the ones that jumped out instantly became my favorite for that game.
Well, you should take the next question. You can read that one off.
Oh, once again by Presto the Magnificent.
You skipped our buddy Solo.
How come? Whoa, why didn't you make his name bold?
I didn't. Did I add that?
How
you
dare
added
you?
That. Wait a second.
You added that.
Okay.
How dare you?
Go ahead.
By Solo something, we have a Lego Mario set, a Lego Nintendo Cube. So do you think we will ever get an open world Lego Nintendo game that expands multiple worlds from Nintendo's icon characters?
So like basically Lego Star Wars, but it's Lego Nintendo.
Yeah, kind of like Subspace Emissary, but it's Lego.
You know, when you phrase it like right off the bat, I was like, no way they're doing this. But when he phrased it like that, and the more I think about it, I'm like, well, actually, that's not That's not like too insane. I mean, they work with a lot of different IP to make like collective IP for that. Like, true, a lot of those are working through like a movie series, like Harry Potter. They got a Lego Bat. They've got Lego Batman. That's not really based off of a movie.
Batman.
At least originally it wasn't.
Movies.
And then there's now there's a Lego Batman movie. Lord of the Rings. Did I already say Star Wars? I think I already said Star Wars. So there's a bunch that are movie based, but then they've got like the Lego Worlds and all those offshoot games that have just a bunch of characters. I could see it. They work closely with Nintendo and they're like, hey, we want to make like it would be the next Mario and Rabbids, like an unlikely,
but it would involve multiple Nintendo IPs.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a Donkey Kong Mario kind of different, I guess.
But that's what people crave that. Like,
I just don't really see Nintendo being like, sure, you can make, besides Smash Bros, our like first crossover Nintendo game, Lego style.
Fair point. So you think no?
But who knows? Yeah, I would be surprised. I wouldn't be super surprised if they had maybe one IP, and it was that our IP happened to be Mario.
I think this is a great idea, though, Solo. I do, but I think it's a little unlikely still. But I don't know. Thanks so much for the question. Next question comes from Presto the Magnificent, who asked a question earlier. We should just group these together. Sorry, Presto. Here's the next question. What Nintendo franchise would you most like to see a movie adaptation of, and what one would you not want to see? Ooh, that's a good question. I'm going to let you go first because I don't want to take your answer.
You don't want to take my answer of, I definitely want to see a Metroid?
Yeah, because that's, movie? I mean, that's probably my top pick for a Nintendo IP that should be turned into a movie is Metroid. It makes the most sense.
Yeah, it
even though like Metroid's not like my I wouldn't say Metroid's my favorite Nintendo IP. It's just the easiest to adapt to a film, in my opinion.
Yeah. But at least I'm not too sure about, because if they somehow manage to do it right, I think a Legend of Zelda one could be real cool.
I'm so scared. But
like,
if they even
like
try.
we've mentioned in Discord, it seems like it'd be real difficult for them to do it right, and I don't want them to do a bad one.
Yeah, 100%.
Anything that has Waluigi, actually, changed my mind. No Waluigi in film ever.
Oh, really? What if he's played by, who's your favorite actor?
Sylvester Stallone. I take it back. Sylvester Stallone or Arnold Schwarzenegger could play a Waluigi. Just like the two most memorable voices from the 90s.
Get to the chop, wah! So dumb.
Oh, I would kill someone to hear him say that.
So Waluigi. So there you go. My most wanted, besides Metroid, I feel like we've talked about this at length before, but nothing's coming to mind. I'm just gonna go for the gusto here. Most wanted, what I want to see is a Smash Bros. Movie. But that
could be so cool as well.
Here's the thing: is it would take cumulative movies leading up to it. I mean, they could skip some. The Avengers did that. They didn't have. I mean, they sort of had a Hulk movie, and then they're like, "New Hulk."
You pretend this didn't happen.
And they didn't have a Black Widow or Hawkeye movie prior to doing the Avengers. So like half the Avengers didn't have their own movie. So they could do something like that. Like half the roster doesn't get a movie, but the ones that do get a crossover, and then eventually the ones that didn't will get their own thing, right?
Yeah.
Like Thor got good after Avengers, right? And
they weren't bad.
The first one wasn't awesome.
What? I was thinking the first one was probably the best of the first two.
Yeah, I was like, oh, what are you about to say here? Yeah, so that's what I want to see. I most want to see a Smash Bros. Crossover movie. I mean, I want the MCU, but I want
But
it
I mean, that's
for
kind of like a
Nintendo.
cop out. You're saying essentially you just want to see all of the movies
No, I want to see that one specifically.
with all of the Nintendo
Yeah,
IPs.
yeah, because I feel like here's something about this that I think might be a hot take on Marvel movies, but I feel like when they're all together, maybe it's a little bit better when they're than when they're separated. So like it would be easier to make a good it would be easier to make a good Smash Bros movie than it would be to make a standalone Mario movie or Zelda movie
I don't
and
know
do
about
it justice.
that, though. It could be easier with some characters potentially, but you got to find the right balance between all the characters.
You're going to have a story that is pretty simple, and then it's essentially just a bunch of cameos and references, and that's like all you got to do, and you don't have to set up backstory for any of them, right? Like beyond how they all got to where they are, but even then you don't really have to do that. That's what I'm saying. Is like it's the writing would be a lot easier for a Smash Bros movie than for anything else.
I don't know. It would definitely be different.
There you go. That's what
I don't know
I
if
want.
I'd say it would be easier.
Least want to see.
Well, I already give my answer.
Yeah, and that's what I would have probably picked. Is like, did you say Zelda or did you say?
No, I said Waluigi.
But then you 180'd. What movie would I least like to see a live action adaptation of? Probably Star Fox. I feel like that wouldn't be good.
How dare you? What is wrong with you?
Actually, maybe it would be because like CG Sonic's pretty good. CG
or even
Star
better,
Fox?
they just do like puppets.
Definitely not. Definitely not. I don't want that.
I think a puppet Star Fox movie would be awesome.
Yeah,
everything else is like super high quality CG. Just themselves, the characters are just puppets.
So you said my first answer was a cop out. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to say I want to see a live action adaptation of Pokemon from
We've
not
already
Detective,
gotten that.
not Detective Pikachu. I want a game.
It doesn't count.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm picking. And least want to see. There's like not one I can think of that I don't want to see. Just lots of fear for ones that could potentially be very bad. But also, we like don't need to see movies for certain characters. I think like.
Go ahead and name one.
F-Zero.
How dare you? How dare F-Zero? F-Zero is the first one you say?
Yeah.
I'm not even really a fan of F-Zero, and I'm offended.
Next question. Thank you so much for the question, Preston. Next question comes from LPD, who asks, there's a new listing for Lego Mario set that's 2,800 plus pieces coming later this year. Any speculations on what it could be? Maybe it's a Mario Kart track or Lego Mario, Luigi, and Peach? Do you think this was tied to the movie?
I was wondering if it might just be Nintendo Land.
We already have a Peach's castle, didn't they announce that? Or they have a Bowser's castle?
The real question is, how big of a set is 2,800 pieces?
I don't even know. That's pretty big.
Everything I see, they don't have any like scale. But I was like, that sounds like a lot of pieces, but I have like zero experience recently, at least with Legos.
I'm looking it up right now. How many pieces are in the Lego Mario set? Just like the base Lego Mario set. 231. Okay.
So it's a little bit bigger than
it's a little bit bigger than that.
It's like 13 times as big or something.
Yeah, I'll look up the like what's it called, the question block. Okay, so it's about the size of the question block. Not really. It's bigger than that. The question block is 2,064.
Okay,
So it's like
that's pretty big.
it's like that plus another half of that. So this is a decent sized Lego set. Is it specifically Lego Mario? I didn't see this news at all, or this room. We didn't put it in the rumor mill. LPD coming in and subbing for the rumor Pikmin. Thank you for this, LPD. What could it be? Something that big? Is it just like the entirety of 1-1? The level 1-1?
I don't know. They might just do their theme park they're opening. They could potentially just do that in Lego, but I don't know. I don't know if they could do that big. Because they already have like the iconic Mario. Maybe Luigi's Mansion, but I feel like they wouldn't show up the Lego Mario with Luigi and make that like the biggest set.
We already have a Peach's Castle. I'm like really stumped here.
Hyrule Castle?
Well, no, it's Mario. It's Lego Mario. Also, Peach's Castle.
Mario?
Peach's Castle is 1,216 pieces. So this is like 3 times as big as that.
Yeah, you gotta have that big Luigi's Mansion. Maybe it's
Mario?
Luigi's Mansion 3. It has like the entire.
It's like a hotel. I mean, that wouldn't be out of the question. They had a Luigi's Mansion set.
Oh, that's true. I mean, they already had one though. So
what's popular enough that they haven't already done that's that big? Like the whole Mushroom
City?
Kingdom.
Big old New Donk.
That would be sick. That's my pick. New Donk City. It's a New Donk City Lego set.
It's a new Donk City Lego set.
That would be so cool. Oh, Micah, you're genius.
That's right, I'm a genius. It's going to be like an exclamation block, but even bigger.
It's just a bigger, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's that, or maybe the Luigi's Mansion Hotel.
Or maybe it's it's the next thing. It's a Super Nintendo. Like they did the Lego
bigger
Nintendo.
Than a regular.
They did the Lego Nintendo set, which like had the TV and
I guess with the TV,
the Lego the Lego console that you could like scroll on. So it'll be the next one.
But how many pieces was that one?
I don't know. I'm not going to look that up. I've already spent so much time looking at Lego pieces.
Well, I don't want to look it up.
LPD, thanks so much for the question. I think New Donk City is a good answer. So you do New Donk City. That'll be your answer. My answer is Lego Super Nintendo.
And my second answer is Luigi's Hotel. Haunted
If it is a Lego Super Nintendo, I may have to buy that one. Like that's it'll be like my Mario.
$300 at that size.
I know. And then I'll have to put
it better be a fully functioning console.
Alrighty. Well, that wraps it up on the community corner. Thanks to everybody who submitted questions this week. Really appreciate it. If you want to submit questions, if you want to be awesome, participate in the show in any way, submit topics, hit us up on Discord. It's easy to join. Links are in the description of the show. Let's move on to the PAL topic, which I have a bumper for now. That doesn't work. Hold on. There we go. All right. The PAL topic this week. Let's talk about a discussion that was had on Discord, and it ties back to what we were talking about with Nintendo Switch Sports and reviews. Hambone Johnny made this comment. He said, I think this is an example of where personal fun factor and whether or not this is a good game diverge. Quotes on fun factor and quotes on good game diverge. Might be an interesting topic to discuss this week. And instantly, I was having flashbacks to all the discussions that we have had over games that Micah loves that I don't like, and games that Micah doesn't like that I love. And we're gonna dive into this because I think there's fun factor and nostalgia play a huge role into how much you enjoy certain games and probably affect how much you can objectively look at something. But then, can you really objectively look at any game? Because you're going to be affected somewhat by your perceptions of gaming from other games. We're getting deep here. But Nintendo Switch Sports is the personal fun factor. So in games, how much does the personal fun factor affect whether or not a game is good to you, do you think?
It's all that matters.
All right. Yeah, that's
if I have fun with a game, I don't care what anyone else says.
It's a good game if you had fun.
Well, I don't know if I'd necessarily say
have you ever had a game that you had a lot of fun with, but you knew wasn't a good game?
Yes.
What you said that so quickly, like you have a game right off the bat. What game are you talking about?
Quap.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. If anybody hasn't seen Quap, that's Micah actually beat that game. Legitimately,
I got so good at that game.
I would say Kirby Clash is that game for me. It's like I had a lot of fun with this, but I know it's objectively not that great of a game. It's not a bad game, but it's not.
It's just like it's pretty close to being a fun game, but the boss fights are just like timed essentially, instead of like you.
It has a lot of like
die.
It has a lot of like lame mobile game tactics tacked onto it, but I really like the game overall, even with those, and I kind of like those in it because it gives it. I don't know, that I like the game. My personal fun factor makes that game really fun for me, but it's really hard to recommend because a lot of people don't consider it a good game. Is Nintendo Switch Sports that kind of game? No, I think the reviewers are wrong. I'm just going to come out and say it. I think the reviewers are wrong, and that they have judged this too harshly. This game is not a 5. It is not below a 5. No. I could see people saying a 7. No, I don't even think it deserves a 6 because it's like, and I don't like number systems anyways because it's so arbitrary to whatever you say. But and here I am knocking on people saying 5, like it's arbitrary, but you can't say that.
But you're wrong.
But you're wrong. I just think there's more than fun factor here. Like the game's mechanics are actually really well designed. Personal fun factor.
It's like the mechanics are good. It is, from what I've seen, I mean, it's like Wii Sports essentially, which is rather simple, but done well, and it's fun. So yeah, if you think about like how hard it was for them to make, and like how much you're paying for it, if you want to get like really financial about it or something, you could maybe be like, oh, it's not like worth how hard it was to be made. It's like a really relatively simple game to make.
No, we're not going to talk about worth of games here. That's tough.
Who cares about that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that.
But I feel like that does like kind of skew people's perceptions sometimes.
Yeah, we were talking
like,
earlier.
This is a pretty simple game to make, therefore it's not really a great game.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before on the show, where it's like games that are like it happens like every time a new game comes out. It's always compared to like, wow, you paid $60 for Metroid Dread. Like that's an 8-hour game. Why? When a $60 game by Nintendo, 8 hours. $60 game by who makes FromSoft?
Call of Duty.
FromSoft. This has hundreds of hours of content in it, and it's like, well, yes, but like comparing everything. If you want to start saying like hour to dollar, then FromSoft's going to start being able to charge you quite a bit for going and playing Elden Ring. I'm just going to throw that out there. Yeah, this, and also like inflating content, like that would be such a problem if that was how it was priced.
And like some games are kind of just time sinks where you just have to spend a lot of time doing things that aren't particularly all that fun to get to the more fun stuff, kind of. But some of these like shorter games, you're just having like maximum fun the whole time.
Yeah.
Not to say some of these long games aren't just a lot of fun most of the time. Anyways.
Solo something in chat says, don't do that. $1 per hour would make my RPG games too expensive. Yes. Anybody that likes RPGs would be like, I can only buy one game a year now because it costs $1,000.
One game per system.
Yeah, I'm equating value like the dollar to hour is a rough spot to be.
I mean, I tend to like at least want to get my time / money's worth out of a game.
But then
the most deciding factor.
Part of me really appreciates a nice, concise game that doesn't drag on and like doesn't overstay its welcome. Metroid Dread does a great job of that. I feel like Metroid Dread is like a great length. I honestly would. I want it to end with me wanting more, not with me going
terrible.
I don't want to end with me going, well, that was way longer than it needed to be. You know, I've played games where it's like, this just took so long.
Yeah, like Ocarina of Time, yo. I can agree with you on that one.
I'm trying to think of a game off the top of my head, but nothing comes to mind because I just don't have time to play those kinds of games anymore. Yeah.
I did. Don't let Eli hear me say this, but I did play through Elden Ring, and I really enjoyed that. But towards the end, I was like, you know what? I think I'm done with all these side quests. I think I'm ready to like end the game now. But that was like just under 80 hours when I finished.
Skyrim was that way for me. I started Skyrim so many times and never finished. It was just like, it just felt slow and dragged on. But then when I went back and played it on the Switch, I just kind of mainlined it, just went for the mainline story, and I really enjoyed my time with it. It felt enough so that I did both of the expansions. So like the vampire one and the other one with more dragon stuff. I don't remember exactly what happens.
But I remember like
playing Fair through. Bear chat says she's going to tell Eli for
you. No. But will he believe you? We got to delete this episode.
We got to delete the whole thing.
But when I like finished Skyrim, I was like, oh, I'm going to finish this main thing and then get back like the main story and then like start doing all these side quests and finish those. And after I beat the main story, I never played again. Even though I told myself I was going to keep playing.
Dr. Goomba Tower in chat has a comment here that's I think is good. Nintendo doesn't need long games. It still has a massive audience that'll buy their games based on quality, not length. I mean, it's true. Like, if the game is high quality, length shouldn't really be a factor. Stanley Parable's a fantastic game that I'm highly recommending right now. That is pretty short. So I guess probably Nintendo Switch Sports would be considered the same. It's a fairly short game if you're just trying to do everything in it, but it's not that kind of game, you know?
Yeah.
Stanley Parable is like there's not like more to do beyond like finding the different endings and exploring for different secrets, but that doesn't take that long to do all of that. It's more about the narrative, and I don't know. It's one of those things where, so this is kind of straight away from the original topic here, but it's one of those things where equating the dollar to like the value of the game is very difficult, and games haven't gone up in price in many years, many years.
It's been a little bit,
so
which I don't particularly mind.
Yeah, it's great for the consumer, but it also makes it hard. That's why we see all these weird practices with microtransactions and trying different things with how much will they pay for this game feature. Hey, this is a great time to bring up the Sonic Origins chart that I forgot to talk about earlier. So Sonic Origins is coming out soon, and it got really memeified because they released this chart alongside the announcement. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different versions of the game that you can get. Standard edition, the Start Dash Pack, which I think goes on top of Standard
that's
edition.
just like included with pre-orders. So that's not really its own version, kind of.
Yeah, it's only wait, that's only in pre. Okay, and then the Premium Fun Pack, and then the Classic Music Pack, which I'm assuming those can stack, and then the Digital Deluxe Edition. Standard edition is $40. First off, I was like, $40. That's pretty steep.
That seems like quite a bit. It says like the main game. This is like a collection of games, is it not?
Yeah. It's Sonic 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, okay.
And CD. So four Sonic games, for the classic Sonic games. So you're paying like $10 per game, which I guess isn't crazy. But
that's not insane.
But when Sonic Mania is like $30, it seems like a lot. But anyways, the standard edition comes with the main game, but then this chart has all these things that the other versions come with. So the pre-order bonus, you get 100 bonus coins, whatever that means. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
And mirror mode. That's a pre-order bonus.
But it does say it's unlockable in game. So potentially, if you beat it, you might be able to get it without.
That makes sense. Okay, so you can get it so if you pre-order it, that feature's just unlocked right away.
Weird. Yeah, that was my understanding.
Weird. Letterbox background. I don't even know what that is. What?
I don't know what that means.
A letterbox is just like a text box, right? Like, yeah, you got a letterbox in the background.
The letters look extra
nice. That's not included in the standard game. Okay, then here are all these features that are not included in the standard game, but are in the deluxe version and some of these other.
Some of them are kind of weird.
Hard mode, hard missions.
That's cool. Kind of lame that the hard mode is. I assume they're just hard versions of the same levels, or kind of locked behind a paywall, but not too crazy.
Character animation in the main menu. Camera controls over the main menu islands.
Now that seems really weird.
Just like, what is it?
All I remember from that is you're looking at the island from a distance and you see Sonic and potentially Tails. Is there like a different main menu?
Yeah, now you can turn.
You're like way far away.
Ooh, look at the mountain on this side. I don't know. Character animation during the music islands.
I don't even remember music islands.
I don't know what that means. And additional music tracks from the Mega Drive and Genesis titles, which is only included in the classic music pack. Okay, Micah, can I ask you something?
You can always ask.
What the heck is going on? What the heck is this? What is happening right now? Like, this is the weirdest. This is the weirdest. Like segmenting of your features for different versions. First off, there doesn't need to be a premium fun pack and a digital deluxe edition. Just have one. And here's the kicker, Micah. The standard edition is $40. The digital deluxe edition, $45. So
that's how they get you. How they get you.
All of these different versions are arguing with each other over $5 essentially.
But to be fair, there are actually it's kind of weird how they laid it out and whatnot, but there are actually only two different versions: the standard edition and the
premium
edition.
Fun Pack. No, the premium Fun Pack's its own edition.
No, premium Fun Pack is
on
like
top of
DLC
the standard for the standard.
Yeah, you buy that separate to go with your standard edition.
Yes. Okay.
Same with the music pack. And also the Start Dash Pack.
It's just funny that it's put in this chart like
but
this.
But it's just like so they have the editions on both ends, which I kind of understand why they did it that way, because they want the digital deluxe edition at the far right with like all the options. So it goes kind of from like least to most-ish. But it's done kind of weird. I think what
they're trying to do here is give more choice. Like, you don't have to get the full deluxe edition. You could just buy the different pieces of the deluxe that you want.
Yeah.
But the fact is, I think delivery on this was poor.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, with like
And
the
if you have
deluxe
to
only
release
being
a
$5 more, like how much are the premium fun pack and music packs going to be? It seems
Who
like
knows?
either of them would be like $5,
Yeah,
but they would have to be less than $5. They're probably $2.50 each or something.
valued at
weird.
99 cents, or the cost of the whole Sonic IP. Oh, now Sonic's actually
Yeah,
doing
I mean,
pretty good.
it seems like if you're going to get either of the premium fun pack or the music pack, you'd probably just want to get the digital deluxe anyways,
Yeah,
because it'd probably be like $1 more.
yeah.
But I mean, I don't know what they're going to be priced at.
Yeah. You're 100% right.
But that's just how they get you. It's all a scam. They overprice the standard edition so that the digital deluxe edition
You're
seems
like,
like
what?
a
It's
really good deal
I
because
know
it's
it's like
only
it's
$5
$5
more.
Yeah,
And that's how they get
I
you to
don't like.
think it's a good deal to get the game.
This is too expensive for what it is. I mean, it's Sonic, everybody. This isn't a Mario collection we're
What are
talking
you
about
trying
here.
to say?
I
here?
paid $60 for the first 3D Mario games. What am I even doing judging anybody buying this?
Yeah, but to be fair, those are 3D Mario games. These are 2D Sonic games.
And Knuckles has Knuckles in it, so Sonic.
Who cares about Knuckles? The
Yeah,
real
Sonic
deciding
3
factor
is
is which ones have tails.
Sonic 3, all of them. You can play as Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles in all of the games. That's part of the remaster. So that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that's true.
Yeah, I think I would probably pick this up if it was like
$10,
$10,
$3,
$20.
I mean, $10 is real cheap.
If I fished it out of
That'd
a
be paying
bargain
like
bin and was like,
$2 a
hey,
game.
oh, this is nice, I'd fish it out of a bargain bin and buy it.
Yeah.
It's just
That's
weird.
That's how I got Desert Storm. The
Yeah,
first
great
game.
game. Great
and
game.
ended up thinking that game was fantastic.
Yeah. It's a weird chart, weird decision, but okay.
I appreciate them giving more options, but it's all a scam anyways to get you to buy the deluxe version and think you're getting a steal of a deal.
It's like a congrats Sega, you tried to give more options, but it did not deliver quite like people wanted. Well, Micah, this has been a good discussion. We didn't dive too much into the fun factor affecting games because I wanted to mention before we close.
Forgot that's what we originally started talking about.
Fun factor. Do you think that Ocarina of Time is one of those games where it's like the fun factor really affects how you view that game, the nostalgia, and how much fun you personally have with it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Do you think the fun factor and how you personally view a game like Mario Sunshine?
No.
Oh, okay.
Those are objectively good games.
It's not an objectively good game. That's what I'm saying. I
feel like
personal nostalgia really does affect your perception of gaming.
But we know that personal nostalgia does not affect how I feel about games, because I went into playing Ocarina of Time thinking this is potentially the second greatest Legend of Zelda game, and I have all these fond memories of it.
Yeah, but the fun
factor
factor
going to be
does.
So much fun, and then it wasn't good.
Yeah, but the fun factor does. You didn't have fun with it personally.
No, but I had the nostalgia for it.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, maybe what we need is like fresh looks at some of these games from people that have not played anything else. So reviewers now can't have like a review for a video game has to be made by someone who has never played another game before.
You can only play one game as a reviewer, and then you're done.
Then you retire. Like it's like
they just.
It's like a public service that everybody has to do. It's like jury duty.
It's like the movie like Payday or something, where the guy like essentially rips off of other products and whatnot, and then they erase his memory of it, so he doesn't even remember it. You review a game, and then they erase your memory, so you don't remember ever having done it.
We have a comment here in chat. That's good. Yeah, I actually, Mike, that would be really interesting, but unethical. but interesting.
Not if they agreed with it.
Yeah,
it would definitely still be questionable.
Isn't that like the whole premise of that new show that's out with it's like takes place in an office Severance. That's what the show's called.
Haven't heard of it. I don't know.
They allow for their memories to be segmented for their work self and not and actual self. I haven't seen the show. I just
That
know the
sounds
premise.
awesome.
And it turns into
But
this,
also terrible
suspense thriller, dystopian futures type.
I mean,
show.
because it seems like at home you'd be like, yeah, I just remember having all these fun times. It'd be awesome. But then you'd be at the office and all you remember is doing office work and stuff. And it'd be really depressing.
This has nothing to do with the topic. But coming back on track, we had a comment here from Ridago. It says, I feel like the nostalgia factor colored a game like Zelda Phantom Hourglass for me. Like, I love Wind Waker, and the art style is kind of what made me happy, but gameplay was a little rough for me. It's a hot take. That's not a hot take. A lot of people. Oh, it's
Ridigo.
Sorry, Ridigo.
Or yeah.
That's not a hot take. A lot of people. I can see. I actually got into a little bit of a. I got into a little bit of a tiff with our buddy Sean Capri. Not really.
Wow.
He was like, "There's no. They need to make a sequel to Wind Waker. There's no sequel to Wind Waker." And I was like, "Well, there's actually two. There's Phantom Hourglass is a direct sequel, and then Spirit Tracks is kind of a sequel to that. Takes place but it's 100 years in the future. So,
but they're very different games.
Yeah,
gameplay wise and mechanics and things.
Those controls are so garbage that I didn't even think about them. It was a very Micah response. You would have been proud of Sean. And I was like, excuse me?
They're just
it's not a hot take.
They're not really the same games.
Yeah.
They take place in the same world, but they're very different games.
And same art style, but it's a top-down Zelda game. It's a top-down Zelda game that uses touch controls.
So I can definitely see how that would skew your thoughts on it, because you're kind of expecting it to be like Wind Waker.
But this actually fits really well with the topic. And there are a lot of games like this where their personal fun factor is absolutely ruined by the controls. I'm bringing it. Listen, people
don't do it.
I don't know what I'm not supposed to do. People that don't play with motion controls, people that were like, I don't want to play with any touchscreen anything, and I'm not even going to switch to regular camera. We're going to be doing inverted. That's what they started on, and that's what I'm going to be doing forever. That's right, Sean. That's right.
When you talk about bringing it back, I thought for sure you're going to once again bring up Kid Icarus Uprising.
Oh, you know it. You knew exactly where I was going with this. Kid Icarus Uprising was a game that was like that. Personal fun factor killed it for a lot of people, even though objectively it is a very good game. Extremely well designed. But that the control scheme just kills it for people. And I just think that's such a bummer.
Yeah. And that's how I feel about Star Fox Zero.
Yeah.
I thought that game was a lot of fun. And unfortunately, the controls were just too difficult for some people. A lot of people just weren't quite good enough to play the game it was meant to be played.
But here's the thing is, no matter what comes out, what happens, there's always going to be someone that likes it. Looking at you. I'm looking at you out there, Balan, Wonderworld fans. Someone out there loves that game. Or at least doesn't hate it. But I just
at least one person can tolerate playing through that game.
And so for those people, the fun factor overcomes whatever the objective opinion of the game is. But what is the objective opinion of the game but just the majority?
I mean, there are objective things you can say about games. Like,
yes, but
Ocarina of Time, objectively, the combat is kind of repetitive because enemies... I mean, it's an old game, so there's a lot simpler AI. Enemies essentially do the exact same thing in a loop when you fight them. So you can objectively say it's not the most dynamic combat. But does that mean some people won't have a blast trying to perfect that combat loop to be able to take out these enemies as fast as possible? Or to do it without getting hit ever, or things like that? People can have a lot of fun with that sort of thing.
Yeah, but and even that is very opinionated on whether or not you enjoy the simplicity or want something more complex, because then some people will rate something bad because it's overly complex. I see that all the time for Xenoblade. I mean, you look at a Xenoblade battle screen and you're like, what is happening right now? There's like 5,000 numbers. There's different health bars all over the place. Like, there's so much going on, and people will be like, yeah, it's not a good game because it's too complicated. And so I think while maybe there are some things that are objective that you really can rate off of, it's still is going to be opinion around that objective critique or that objective view of what the game is. And to that point, I think reviews kind of struggle as a medium because people are trying to be this blanket that will be like, yeah, we can give a score, and you could go and be like, look, this is the IGN score for this game, and that determines the value of the game. But really, it should be on how do you as a gamer connect with the reviewer and the games that they like and their perception on the game. And you try and find those. And the Nintendo Pals,
you can only really trust reviewers that like the same games as you, kind of.
Right. And then when a new one comes out and they review it, and you can kind of get a feel before it, like that. Like, I feel like that is beneficial for the reviewing medium more so than having these generalized massive scores. But yeah, so. And I was going to plug us there, Micah, but you cut me off. I was going to say, the Nintendo Pals is always a great place where you could start to look at those reviews and see, yeah, I agree with this guy. Yeah, it's an interesting field. I'm not an expert in it.
Because no matter what game, odds are you'll agree with one of us.
That's the fun thing about being a duo. And I think what a lot of these sites are trying to do with having a ton of people on, but there's too many. And you can't really, like, some people do, but the general populace doesn't connect with the one-on-one. Like, I like this reviewer at IGN or at, I'm trying to think of other game review sites, Nintendo Life or this, or what I mean?
Yeah.
They just become an entity, and you're like, oh man, Nintendo Life gave this a 5 out of 10. They must not like it. Like, everyone there must hate it.
Multiple people from these places need to review the game, and then you can trust the reviewer you most relate with.
That's a good idea on the reviewer side. I think that's a great idea. It's more work on them, but it would be good. But then also just as gamers and as audience members that look into that stuff, need to change our perception to realize that it's an individual's opinion, not an entity's score. That's hard. That's hard to do. I think at both ends there should be changes in that regard. Anyways, this has been an interesting discussion. Thanks so much for the topic suggestion, and the conversation has continued and probably will continue over on Discord. So check out our Discord if you haven't already. Alrighty, let's close it out here with the end of our show, and to do that, I hit the outro button. My segues have been just on point tonight for what's going on.
So good.
If you want to follow us, you can do so on any of our social media platforms. We're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and Discord. Also, remember to leave us a 5-star review on your podcast listening app of choice. It helps people discover the show, helps us out a lot, and helps us to take over the world of Nintendo podcasts and gaming podcasts in general. So with that, you can't do nose goes.
Too slow. Nose goes.
We're going to give a closing remark to Micah.
It's too late. I touched my nose.
And that's his closing remark.
Yes. Break the rules. That's a cop out.
Have a great night, everybody, and we'll talk to y'all next week.